Peace, what's up everybody? It's your boy Jay Everyday, aka Furious Styles. And what I'm gonna try and do today is to give you a definition of something. It's something that's around, it's something that's always been here in some shape, form, or fashion. And I'm just going to try and give the best description I can. But before I start, I just want to mention something very, very strange. I've discussed this on a number of occasions, and every time I've discussed it and tried to upload it to my YouTube channel, something seems to happen. It's really weird, but it's just kind of peculiar. Because I mean, I have no trouble posting anything else, but for some reason I always have trouble posting this. So this is going to be my third time trying to do it. So here I go. Anyone that listens to my YouTube channel know that I refer to the framework, and I also refer to what I call as a mind fuck. So I'm not going to necessarily talk about the latter. I'm going to talk about the one in front, the framework. And what I want to do is try and give you a brief description of what the framework is, how it was created, and what you can do about it. So here it goes. Everyone has seen the movie The Matrix, and I'm not going to get into, the author and the movie and all of that, but The Matrix was really a simplified way of talking about the framework, but it was probably one of the best descriptions of what the framework is. People have talked about it in books. Some people have talked about it on YouTube, but what has happened is people's attention spans are shorter. This is also a result of the framework. So anything that's super descriptive or super detailed, it's hard for people to pay attention, because you have a generation of people that is built on instant gratification. That being said, that's part of the framework. So let me go in. The framework has always been around in some shape, form, or fashion for years. As society continued to develop and technological advances were made, the framework has always been 5 to 10 years ahead of the technology that has been disseminated to the public. So the framework was able to adjust and tweak itself based upon what technology was available. So if you only had books and newspapers, that information was controlled and disseminated in the shape, form, or fashion that people wanted it. Once you got TV, radio, computers, smartphones, the framework adjusted, and they made sure information was disseminated accordingly based on the technology at the time. As far as who created the framework, no one really knows. I mean, you have all of this Illuminati shit, and oh, it's the 5 families, the Bilderbergs, and the J.P. Morgans and the Carnegies and all of that shit. While I can say some of those people that you hear people talk about, they were a part of it, and they have a say in it, but they aren't in control of it. There is no one entity that's in control of it. It's a collective. And this is a trick what most people don't understand about the collective is it's not ran by one person. There's alliances, there's people who are enemies, but everyone works within the framework to control their piece of it. They're part of the pie. So that covers who created it. What is it used for? The framework is used to basically control narrative, control thought, control creative thinking, control everything you see and hear, basically. That's why there's religion, there's movies, there's pornography, music, political discourse. Anything that evokes or emits a reaction from you is part of the framework. Now, certain people have recognized the idea of the framework, and they may work in a certain industry, so they will attack a part of it that they deem necessary. But I think they're smart enough to know that, okay, I can't be so blatant with it. Sometimes I may just have to do something that, yeah, I'm taking a shot at it, but it's so subtle that, most people who aren't critical thinkers will have a hard time catching on it. And the simple-minded will think, oh, that's just so brilliant that you put that out there. And you can see it in movies and in music especially. Because see, this is a thing about it. The only thing that can really fight the framework or broadcast a signal within the framework is art. Because you really can't control creative thought or creative ideas. The framework has recognized this, so they're like, if I can't control it, I will manage it. If I can't manage it, then I'll remove it. If I can't remove it, I'll destroy it. This is how the framework operates. The framework will put out a narrative, and it will have people that you think are, oh, this person is so hip, oh, this person is so woke, oh, this person is such and such, and it really won't register with most people because, like I said, they don't use critical thinking. They'll just go along with whatever the narrative is. Like if someone is a rapist, if someone has killed 11 people, oh, if this person puts out this, and then you hear all this slander and controversy about them. Oh, if somebody's about to come out with an album or a movie, but right before it drops, there's some type of scandal. All of these things are part of the framework, and they're used on purpose to create certain narratives based on whatever the framework tells them they want the narrative to be. It'll take too much time to go into specific instances of it, but if you check my channel, I do speak on specific circumstances involving the use of the framework. Like I said, this post is really just to explain what it is, how it's being used, and what you can do about it. You can't escape from it. You can't escape from the framework unless you cut off your TV, don't use your phone, don't use a computer. You have to go completely off the grid. And even if you go completely off the grid, you're still going to have to get your data and your information from somewhere. And just another really quick point, there's a difference between data and information. I'm not going to get into the difference of data and information. I'll tell you about that later. But I wanted to just get back here to the framework. So you really can't escape from it unless you go off the grid and you don't want to use no electronic device at all. Okay. The next part is going to be what to do once you realize this, or you're aware of the fact that there is a framework. Because see, that's another trick of the framework, is to convince you, oh, that's some bullshit, or oh, that's just something he made up or he heard. And realistically, yeah, I've heard of the term framework before. No one has explained it like I did, but I have heard of the term before. Number two, you can't make somebody see anything. They're either going to believe it or they're not. The best way to fight the framework is to use critical thought. Also, you have to read almost daily. If you don't read, if you don't look at books, if you don't look at a time before all information was disseminated electronically, it's going to shorten your attention span. You're only going to listen to information that coincides with your viewpoint. And it's hard to use critical thought when you're being spoon-fed what to think. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't get caught up in it, that I don't find myself paying attention to the stories that the framework creates, because let's be honest, no one is forcing you to watch or listen to any of this shit. The fact that you do on your own as a person, that says more about you than it does about the framework. Okay, so you have to read more and stop devouring so much electronic media. Okay. That's number one. Number two is to recognize when someone is trying to give you some information, and you have to give it a chance. And what I mean by that is, check the source. See who their information came from. Because if I tell you, hey, I got this great idea, I got this idea for this, or I think we can do this for a movie or a documentary, well, where did that idea come from? Okay, it's an original thought, it's an original idea. What information do you have? What data do you have to support the information that you're giving me? And just real quick, the difference between data and information is this. Data is recorded, quantifiable information. Like, for example, data can tell you what the weather has been for the last 2 weeks because it's quantifiable. It's not someone's opinion. It's based on scientific principles. Information is the news. Opinion and debate shows. Something that's based off someone else's opinion or is based off a common or a chosen narrative with no real data, that's information. Let me just get off by saying that. Now, getting back to it. So there is no escape from it. You just have to know how to move within it. As far as the future is concerned, the Matrix is going to, not the Matrix, the framework is going to continue in some shape, form, or fashion. Let's just get that out. Number two, I don't really think at this point no one can unplug from it. That may be just how powerful it really is. The third thing is this. You can't pull anyone out of the framework or make them see it if they don't want. I know this firsthand because I've tried with certain people, family members and stuff. And it's really sad because it's almost like talking to a wall. The last point I'm going to make this one really short because I'm trying to keep these brief. The framework isn't going anywhere. You can't destroy it. You can fight it, but in a sense you really can't. What you have to do is basically learn how to move in an atmosphere where everything has been created to keep you as sheep and to keep you as a drone and to teach you to have a collective mindset with regards to everything. So with that being said, man, that's what the framework is. Short and sweet. This is your boy Jay Everyday, also known as Furious Styles. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can also donate on Patreon. And I'm out.